freaks! I'm Penelope Peculiar, and today we're going to be going through a decade of dolls. I was born in the early 2000s, which means that the 2010s were kind of my true era of playing with dolls and toys, and they're kind of what I remember the most. So to me, and maybe you, this is my golden era of doll releases. So I thought it'd be fun to revisit some of my favorite dolls from my childhood, and also some dolls that I had never even heard of before researching for this video. For each year, I'm going to go into a small deep dive for a few releases for that year. So with that, let's get right into the video. Today, our story begins in 2010. The first line we're going to be talking about is maybe one of the most popular doll lines ever. It's of course Monster High. Released in the summer of 2010, after years of development, the freaky chic students of Monster High were an instantaneous hit with their target demographic of tweens. The dolls were actually selling out before they could even restock the shelves. Monster High was released and manufactured by Mattel, although it was created by Garrett Sander, who proposed the idea in 2007. The idea was to have these students of famous monsters attend a high school for monsters, each doll coming with a scary, cute sense of style and their own storyline. The dolls included in the first release were Draculaura, Claudine Wolf, Frankie Stein, Laguna Blue, Cleo Denial, and Deuce Gorgon. Although we now know that originally the main goals were supposed to be Draculaura, Howleen, Operetta, and Frankie Stein, which is quite fascinating. I would have loved to see what Operetta as a main character would have been like. Movies, books, TV shows, webisodes, it was all created for Monster High, even furthering the appeal to that target demographic. And more monsters were being released every year. Monster High continued having great sales until the year 2013, which led to the creation of another doll line that we will get into later. Said doll line actually created more interest in the Monster High line, leading to Generation 2 of Monster High, which was a massive flop, causing Mattel to quietly discontinue the line in 2018. Then in 2022, Mattel released Generation 3. Along with the dolls, a live-action movie was released and a Nickelodeon show was also made. This generation has been pretty split among doll lovers and collectors, some missing the black accents that were in the dolls in the original generation, while others really adore the more brightly colored dolls of this generation. Whether you love or hate them, it's absolutely wonderful that a new generation of children get to play with these dolls that we had when we were younger. Moving on to our next release of 2010, another doll line that I remember vividly. They are so magical and so cute. We're of course talking about Lalaloopsy. I've actually made 3 videos on Lalaloopsy that I will link if you are interested in a very extensive deep dive into the brand. But for our little deep dive today, Lalaloopsy is a ragdoll inspired doll line released by MGA in July of 2010. Each doll is sewn with a particular material, and the final stitch on the dolls brings them to life. The original 8 dolls include Bee Spells a Lot, Mittens Fluff and Stuff, Crumb Sugar Cookie, Spot Splatter Splash, Dot Starlight, Peanut Big Top, Joel Sparkles, and Pillow Featherbed. Although over 100 Lalaloopsies were released during its time on the shelves. Lalaloopsy were immediately loved by children because they sparked creativity and imagination, which was the entire goal of the doll line. Though sadly, MGA quietly removed the doll line from their sites and discontinued them in 2018, leaving fans of the dolls a little saddened and questioning if this was really the end of Lalaloopsy. Until 2020, when Lalaloopsy released 10-year anniversary dolls, which included some re-releases of older dolls and some new dolls, including a little sister for Dot Starlight, who is Comet Starlight. This, however, was the official end of Lalaloopsy, as no more releases has come out since 2020, and it doesn't seem like there ever will be. Now for our final 2010 doll release, we are going to be discussing the Moxie Teens dolls, who are actually an extension of the Moxie Girls line from 2009. Released by MGA, Moxie Girls are trendy and fashionable girls who were actually born out of a legal battle between Mattel and MGA over the rights to the doll line Bratz, which they originally lost until it was overturned in 2010. But the Moxie Teens dolls were more mature and chic than their girls' counterparts. The line included teens named Melrose, Arizona, Tristan, and Bijou. The dolls had interchangeable wigs, inset eyes, rooted eyelashes, and 14 points of articulation, which allowed for more posability. Wave 2 of the Moxie Teens were released in 2011, followed by a formal line, which is honestly really cute. But sadly, production on these lines ended before the dolls were even available for sale. And before we knew it, the Moxie Teens were discontinued, bringing us to the end of 2010, taking us to 2011, where we begin with a new doll line from Barbie. That's right, your favorite doll's head is now interchangeable with her besties. It's the Barbie Swap in Style. Barbie is of course owned by Mattel. The original line of these dolls were released in 2010, but the second wave came out in 2011, so cut me some slack. The whole gimmick for this line was that the heads were interchangeable, allowing for more interchangeability. I remember having these dolls when I was younger, but I think that these have more of a draw for adult collectors, as the interchangeable heads only really give slight differences in the face that may be better for like doll photography or videography. The line was a bit lacking when it came to diversity between the different heads, and Mattel didn't limit this gimmick to Barbie. They also released a My Scene version of the Swap in Style dolls. The Barbie line featured several different base dolls and even more individual heads, but this line didn't last very long, being discontinued in 2012. And another new doll line that came out in 2011 were the Heart for Heart girls, which I had never heard of prior to researching for this video, which I love. They were released by Playmate Toys, and this line was focused on making more diverse dolls. Each doll was representing different countries, including dolls from Mexico, India, Ethiopia, and Belarus, and even more. Each doll came with a story about them overcoming a challenge in their lives, and each purchase of a doll would donate $1 to a Christian humanitarian organization called World Vision. In 2011, the original Heart for Heart girls included Del, Lillian, Consuelo, Rahel, Nahaji, and Tipi. Then Loris and Zella came in 2012, followed by Mosi and Shola in 2013, and finally Naisha and Sirhan in 2014. This line was very popular and even won the Oppenheim Toy Portfolio Gold Award because of the strong message and diversity in the doll line. Sadly, Playline discontinued the line in 2014, although in 2016, a few of the most popular dolls were brought back when MPA Sales bought the rights to the line. Although the re-release would not see the same level of success as the original release, causing it to be discontinued once again. And that finishes off 2011 in terms of our discussion today, which is bringing us to the year of 2012, which is another massive year for doll releases. Get excited. Our first doll line is yet another one I have already made an in-depth video about that I will link. It was August of 2012 when the Novi Stars dolls landed on Earth in your local Target and Walmart stores. They are obviously extraterrestrial dolls that are learning about life on Earth. From going to human school, learning about human makeup and fashion trends, to even getting human crushes. You can watch the Novi Stars do it all in their web series that is on their YouTube channel. The Novi Stars were a massive hit, mostly due to their unique look. This line ran from 2012 until the fall of 2014, when it was added to the pile of discontinued doll lines. During its production, however, many Novi Stars were released. Some of these dolls include Metallic, who I actually have right here. If you have Novi Stars, will you comment and tell me how you get them to stay standing? Because she just keeps falling. And it makes me sad. Because she's messing up her eyelashes. But Metallic, Universe, Mimi Mirais, and Antarctic. Each doll came with its own unique gimmick and pet. This is one of the lines I don't understand why it was discontinued, because even to this day it has a fan base despite being discontinued for over a decade at this point. I don't know. But that's besides the point because we have more doll lines to get into, of course. The next being the La Di Da dolls. Produced by Spin Master, also in August of 2012, La Di Da focuses on a group of fashionable friends that are creating a fashion label together. The main girl, of course, being Dee, and her 4 close friends named Tylee, Cheyenne, Salone, and LeBun. This doll franchise features adorable fashions with bright colors and patterns. It's very loud. Some of the lines include Sweet Party, Juicy Crush, and Runaway Vacay. But shockingly, despite interest and sales, Spin Master discontinued this line shortly after release. Taking us to our final doll release of 2012, a new addition to the Bratz franchise. In the form of Bratzillas, released by MGA following their renewed ownership of Bratz, the Bratzillas dolls were a line of witchy Bratz dolls with some updated features, like glass eyes and even more articulation. The dolls in the Bratzillas line are named Jade J'adore, Sasha Bella Paws, Megana Broomstick, Cloetta Spalletta, and Yasmina Clairvoya. In hindsight, this line was essentially MGA's attempt to get that Monster High money, which didn't go exactly to plan, as the Bratzillas would be discontinued by 2013, following the release of the Witchy Princesses line, ending 2012 with another sad loss. Obviously, I can't include every release from every year, so it was pretty hard to decide which dolls I wanted to include in each year, but especially for 2013 and our next year, 2014. Which brings us to a doll line that I mentioned in the Monster High portion of this video. The doll line that Mattel created after Monster High sales were going down. We're of course talking about Ever After High, a doll line inspired by fairy tales but split into 2 categories, the Royals and the Rebels, with some of the Royals including Blondie Locks, Dexter Charming, and Briar Beauty, and some of the Rebel dolls including Raven Queen, Hunter Huntsman, and Cerise Hood. Much like Monster High, these dolls were the children of well-known figures, but instead of monsters, they were the children of well-known fairy tale characters, like Snow White, the Mad Hatter, and Pinocchio. Throughout the coming years, Mattel released several Ever After High lines, including Getting Ferris and the Throne Coming series. And over 150 different Ever After High dolls would come out during its time on the shelves. Ever After High was a beloved doll line, making it even more frustrating when the line was discontinued in 2016. It is a bit suspicious that this kind of lines up with when Disney was rolling out their Descendants line, which is essentially the same exact premise as Ever After High. So I think there was a little bit of stuff going on behind the scenes, if you know what I mean. But that was just a theory. So we should move on to our next dolls, which are the Kawaii Crush dolls. Do y'all remember these? Because I do. They were adorable little dolls with big eyes and adorable fashion. This line was manufactured by Spin Master and released in the fall of 2013. Each doll in the Kawaii Crush world loves to express themselves through fashion, fun, and spending time with their pets. There were several releases in the Kawaii Crush line, including the large dolls and small dolls, as well as some playsets. Some of the dolls include Hannah Banana Nom Nom, Amanda Panda Pop, and Tammy Lammy Lulu. This line would also be scrapped and discontinued by 2015. In hindsight, it doesn't really get much better as we move into our last doll line of 2013, which was created by Hasbro, taking one of their most popular franchises and turning them into fashion dolls. We are getting into the My Little Pony Equestria Girls dolls, which leads me to another small plug, because I have made an entire video about anthropomorphic dolls. If that is something that you are interested in, I will also link it. But back to the Equestria Girls. This doll line was accompanying the Equestria Girls movies, where Twilight Sparkle goes through a portal into another world where she has legs and hands, which make for a pretty good doll series, don't you think? Bringing us to the mainstays as dolls, including Twilight Sparkle, Rarity, Fluttershy, Applejack, Rainbow Dash, and Pinkie Pie. The deluxe Fluttershy doll was one of my absolute favorite dolls as a child. I need to get a new one. I need her in my collection. And I know I'm not the only one that absolutely adored this line. The doll line grew to include more characters throughout the years as more Equestria Girls movies were released, including Sunset Shimmer, Princess Celestia, and even Zecora, and so many more. Unfortunately, I'm sure you can guess what happens next. In 2018, Hasbro did a rebrand of the Equestria Girls line. Oh, you thought that they were gonna get just wait. The new Equestria Girls doll line was definitely something. Personally, I prefer the original Equestria Girl line, but to each their own. And now it's time for the discontinuation, when in June of 2020, the Equestria Girls franchise was put to rest, bringing 2013 to a close. Meaning we can move on to the dolls of 2014, where we are actually starting off with a more indie doll line, created by a graphic designer named Nikolai Lamb. His goal was to create a fashion doll with a more realistic body shape. He created the Lamely dolls, where he brought that dream to life through crowdfunding. This line includes 3 dolls, the first being the Traveler, who comes with a brochure of her travels. The second doll is the Photographer, who comes with her own camera, and the final is the Animal Rescuer, who is the first and only boy Lamely doll. This line is actually still ongoing, with dolls, clothing, and even a wheelchair available at the Lamely website. Sadly, the Traveler doll was retired in 2018, leaving only 2 dolls. But I think we really needed a little bit of joy in the midst of all these discontinuations. Which leads me to our other 2014 doll line, the Loxy dolls, who were actually spin-offs of another doll line called Harumika, which was a line of mannequin dolls that children often wished were dolls themselves, leading the company behind Harumika, Bandai, to make that idea a reality, creating the Loxies, a series of dolls that allowed kids to make their own fashions right on their doll. There were 4 Loxy dolls named Ellie, Nikki, Ricky, and Carrie, who all came with their own fabrics and ribbons to make your own fashions. And if that wasn't enough, there were even more packs of bonus materials. I couldn't find when or why, but the Loxy dolls were discontinued by Bandai. My guess is it wasn't too long after launch, as not that many releases came out for this line. But speculation aside, this leads us to our next year, 2015, where the insanely popular franchise Shopkins were releasing a new toy. The Shoppies were released in the fall of 2015 by the owners of Shopkins Moose Toys. They were created to be shopkeepers of the Shopkins universe, all with their own unique personalities and styles. Shoppies would go on to have so many different series and waves. We'd be here literally all day if I went through all of them. So just to name a few, there is Spaghetti Sue, Lucy Smoothie, and Marsha Mello. But yet again, a popular line began to die out, and the line was discontinued in 2012 following the release of the final Shoppy, Winter Frost. The Shoppies were actually then replaced by another doll line called Kindy Kids. But we are going past the year 2019 today, so maybe I'll have to make this into a series. Let me know what you guys think. Anyways, let's get into another 2015 doll line, which is the Barbie Made to Move dolls, which just might be one of the most popular lines for doll collectors and restylers. Because as the name suggests, these dolls are made to move and made to be posed. as they have 22 points of articulation, making them very appealing to people that love to pose and photograph their dolls. But of course, Barbie's target demographic is children who also loved these dolls because the articulation made them even more fun to play with. The line included a few options when it comes to hair and skin color, and the line has continued to grow, including basketball players, skateboarders, martial artists, and many more. Mattel is still producing this line today, and they're still being sold at your local toy stores, which also goes for our next line, which is our first doll release of 2016. They are the LOL Surprise Dolls. Created by MGA, the LOL stands for Little Outrageous Littles, which is exactly what they are. Beginning as blind bag-esque toys, they came in balls, and once opened, revealed a cute little tot with big eyes and adorable fashion, each with their own style based on a school activity or a certain theme. MGA saw massive success with this line, and many series of these LOL Surprise Dolls were released. And in 2019, they expanded the line to include the LOL Surprise OMG Fashion Dolls, who are the big sisters of the Tots. The OMG standing for Outrageous Millennial Girls, who also have gone on to have several different series and lines. As I mentioned earlier, the LOL doll series is still ongoing, and dolls are still available at stores near you. And recently, a Powerpuff Girls collaboration has been released, and they are so cute. I absolutely need these dolls. Our other exciting release for 2016 also comes from Mattel and Barbie, which is kind of going to be a theme for our next few years. It's at this time that Mattel began to release more diverse Barbies under their fashionista line, giving Barbie curvy, petite, and tall body shapes, and even a few more options when it comes to unique hair colors. These were the first of many dolls that would be released featuring more diversity in the Barbie line, as now there's dolls without hair, prosthetic limbs, and disabilities, and even more options when it comes to hair color and texture, as well as skin tone and eye color. And this diversity wasn't going to be limited to just the Barbies either. As we enter 2017, where the Kens were also given more diversity. Mattel released 15 different Kens with 3 different body types, those being slim, broad, and original. The new Kens also had some new hairstyles featuring textured hair as well. The diversity in the Fashionistas line just continues to grow as the years go by, now including dolls with vitiligo, and even recently Mattel has released their first ever Barbie with Down syndrome. I truly hope that this promise for diversity is long lasting and we continue to see more diverse Barbies, and soon enough every little human will be able to find a doll that they can see themselves in. Now let's take a short break from Barbie and meet a different release from Mattel. This line actually began in the Ever After High franchise, where they were 2 little pixies. And once Ever After High was discontinued, MGA decided to take these dolls and create an entire franchise off of them. They were named Enchantimals, which I also talked about in my Anthropromphic doll video, because as I'm sure you have noticed, they are anthropomorphic dolls, meaning humanoid dolls with animalistic characteristics. And so many Enchantimals dolls and playsets have been released over the years. Some of my favorite designs are Sage Skunk, Pristina Polar Bear, and Kay Caterpillar. Although Enchantimals have not been officially discontinued, there have been no new releases in the year 2025. But back to our discussion. We have reached the year of 2018. Sadly, I only have one release for this year because, as I'm sure you've noticed, doll releases were kind of dwindling as we reached the later years of the 2010s. Nonetheless, we have another new release from Barbie when they released the Inspiring Women series on the Mattel Creations website. This is another series that they have continued to make dolls for and is still available today. And there are now 23 dolls available in this collection. But the original 3 dolls released in 2018 were Amelia Earhart, Frida Kahlo, and Katherine Johnson, which have now been joined by women such as Maya Angelou, Florence Nightingale, and Anna May Wong. This is a wonderful collection as it pays homage to truly inspirational women that I'm glad little girls get to actually see representation of. Like I mentioned, I wasn't able to find any other releases for the year 2018. If you can think of any other releases that I missed, please leave them down in the comments. I would love to further this discussion. But that means we have arrived at our final destination. Dun, dun, dun. Which is 2019, where our first release is the Na 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 Surprise Dolls, who were manufactured by MGA during November of 2019. They are plush-bodied, posable dolls with soft hair and adorable painted-on faces that came in blind box-looking packaging. Although there was a sticker on the box to let you know which doll you were getting for easier collecting. The dolls also came with a small keychain that matched the doll's outfit. The line expanded to include more and more lines of the Na 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 Surprise Dolls, as well as new types of dolls called Teens and Minis. Some of my personal favorites are Maxwell Dane, Bailey Bunny, and Fifi LaFluff. Although this line has not survived and was discontinued last year in 2024. And now for our final release of 2019 and this decade. It is from Disney. The Disney Hairdorables Hairmazing Dolls, which is technically an offshoot of the Disney Hairdorables line, which was a blind box line of dolls based loosely on Disney characters. But we are focusing on the Hairdorable Hairmazing line, which are high school aged fashion dolls of the same characters. 3 lines were released, including the original series, a Prom Perfect series, and a Kaleidoscope fashion series, as well as a few fashion packs for your dolls. My favorite characters are definitely Callie and Harmony. The Hairdorables franchise is still around, but it has been morphed into a more budget-friendly line. But the Hairmazing dolls are not available anymore, sadly. And that, my freaks, is all the dolls we're going to be covering in today's video. I love the variety of the different kinds of dolls that were released in this decade. From intergalactic dolls to more diverse Barbies, we really saw a lot of different types of releases. I thoroughly enjoyed taking this trip through the 2010s, as I hope that you did. And I'm really thinking about making this into some kind of series, as I kind of just want an excuse to look at more dolls from different decades. So what would you guys think about a 2000s episode, or 90s, 80s, 2020s, although I should probably wait until we get further in to the decade for that. We shall see what happens. Just let me know what you think. But I really hope that you enjoyed today's video. It was really a lot of fun to make and see all of the dolls that I loved as a kid and even some that I missed. Thank you so much for watching. It truly means so much to me. And if you made it this far in the video, you might as well give this video a little thumbs up for me and subscribe to join our group of peculiar people here on my channel. And with that, I have nothing else to say, so Penelope Peculiar is out of the building. It's so hot. The heat wave is crazy, but look at the fit. Look at the fit, guys. I actually got dressed up today, but I'll see you guys soon.